All right, welcome everyone. This is Mark Brown, Peterson Planetarium Director and NASA Solar System Ambassador here at Emporia State University, the Payrock Center. And we are welcoming you today, doing a mic check here real quick to make sure all of our sound is good. So hopefully everyone is getting ready to tune into our live stream or streaming live right now. So looking forward to this huge event, and give a shout out to our outreach team.
Hi, my name is Ruth.
And my name is Chris.
You must be pretty excited to talk directly with astronauts on the International Space Station today. While we're waiting for the space station to come over your portion of the sky, let's talk a little bit about how it's going to happen. Of course, Mission Control is in contact with astronauts all the time, using a big radio with lots of fancy equipment.
However, we're going to be using something very different today. We are going to use ham or amateur radio to talk directly to the International Space Station.
When most people hear the word radio, they think of a music radio station, but it's so much more than that. Radio actually refers to the unseen energy that transmits all sorts of signals using electromagnetic waves. At first, people learned how to send signals like Morse code, and then they discovered that you can send so much more, like data, computer signals, and even TV.
Maybe you don't realize it, but you use radio every day. Maybe you watched the TV this morning, or you texted your friends, or maybe even you check social media like Twitter or Instagram.
Let's travel back to space for a minute. Since the beginning of the space age, humans have sent many spacecraft out into the universe. These range from the Hubble Space Telescope orbiting the Earth daily, and the Curiosity rover exploring Mars. We've even sent a long-distance messenger, the Voyager 1, who has traveled outside of our solar system.
Whether it's capturing a great picture of a far-off galaxy or conducting experiments on the space station, radio has to do with all of these. And today, you're going to be using ham radio. Now you might be wondering, what exactly is ham radio?
Amateur or ham radio is a service and a hobby where operators can talk with people around their neighborhoods, their cities, their country, and even around the world. Amateur radio operators require a radio license from the government. They're not that hard to get. I have one. My call sign is KM4LAO.
And mine is KD8YVJ. Our call signs are a way of identifying who we are to other operators. This lets everyone know that we have the proper license to using the radios.
As amateur radio operators, or hams as we are often called, we can talk with others about basically whatever we want, often science or some new radio gadget that we are interested in.
Let's focus back to the space station and your contact today. Many of the astronauts and cosmonauts aboard the space station are licensed ham radio operators. That's why your operators today can contact them. The people here, as well as the astronauts, are licensed to talk to each other, and you are allowed to talk over to their radio.
For our conversation today, we'll need an amateur radio station on the ground, either in this location or somewhere else around the world. We'll also need a radio in the space station.
NA1SS.
You can hear the calls coming. This is November Alpha 1 Sierra Sierra, the International Space Station, over.
On the space station, the radio transceiver is connected to an amateur radio antenna mounted on the outside. One of these antennas will be used today during our contact.
For our side of the contact, we need a good-sized antenna, a signal amplifier, something to make our signal stronger, and a rotator for turning our antenna. We have to keep our antenna pointed right at the International Space Station. And remember, it's moving across the sky and fast.
To aim the antenna properly, we need to track the path of the space station exactly. NASA uses complex systems to track the path of the space station and other orbiting objects.
The satellite tracking program we are using works out a complicated set of mathematics to provide the orbital location of the space station moment by moment as it moves through space. This information is sent into the computer that controls the antenna rotator, which moves the antenna to follow the space station. Maybe some of you have seen or worked with robotics. That's pretty cool stuff. And just like you can program a robot where to go, what to do, and how to get there, you can also program a computer to tell an antenna how to track the space station across the sky.
You know, it took a lot of planning to get this contact. Several weeks ago, the ARIS operations team had to figure out when the space station's orbit would pass over this location. Then, they had to talk with the planners at NASA's Johnson Space Center. The crew's time is pretty full, so they were able to find a time that could work for the crew members' schedules. Once they found times that would work both in space and here on the ground, the host organized this contact. And in just a few minutes, you'll be hearing and talking to the astronauts.
Well, it's almost time for your contact. It will be exciting, so good luck with it!
I dreamt of becoming an astronaut since I was a little girl. It was part of me for a very long time. I grew up in the countryside in the middle of France in Burgundy. I was raised in a family where curiosity was very much encouraged. We were given a lot of freedom to explore the world by ourselves, and learning was part of everyday life. My grandpa was a mechanic in the French Air Force, and I was hearing his stories about how he would repair aircrafts and how he would give those aircraft to pilots. He lived a lot of adventures with the Air Force, and I really wanted to live a life full of adventure, and all those resonated in me. As a child, I was very inspired by all the biographies of explorers, of adventurers, scientists. I really wanted to have a job which combines science, exploration, adventure. I wanted to live a life full of adventures. I read also the stories of pioneer women. Biographies that touched me the most at that time were the one of Marie Curie. I thought she was really an example for courage and also determination and giving her knowledge to science, and that was a big impact on me. I really wanted to work for science. When I heard that Claudie and Yuri launched to space, I was 14 years old, and at that time I already knew that I dreamt of becoming an astronaut, but didn't really know it would be possible. I really kept this dream far away, not reachable at all, just like a dream, a kid's dream. But when I saw she launched, I thought like, wow, I want to do my best to make it happen for me. I studied aerospace engineering at a university called ISAE Super-Héros in Toulouse in France. There I not only learned engineering, but also I learned to fly. At that age, I really wanted to learn to fly as many aircrafts as possible, so I got my private pilot license with Super-Héros. And then shortly after, I got my glider's license. Shortly after, I got my skydiving license. I really wanted to fly. So basically every opportunity that was given to fly, I was full on. I applied for MIT for a master's degree, and I moved to Boston because I really wanted to learn with them how to do the design of cockpits, of spacecrafts or aircraft as a way that is optimizing the performance between the machine and the human. I also did my research on how the human body adapts to artificial gravity on a centrifuge. And it was basically designing a program so that astronauts could get less sick when they fly to space. So now I'm happy I learned about this now. Shortly after MIT, I joined Airbus Helicopter, and I was their cockpit design engineer. And there I contributed to the design of the cockpit of the H225. To be honest, I really fell in love with the helicopters there. And because I was still passionate about flying, I thought, okay, I need to find another job where I actually do not work on cockpits, but where my office is a cockpit. So I just knocked on the door of the French Air Force. I did all my basic training in the military. That was really challenging. I loved it because I loved sports and adventures, and for me it was the pinnacle of adventures. I joined the Search and Rescue Squadron. It's based on Cazaux Air Base in southwest of France, which flies the H225 for search and rescue. So I did a lot of missions to rescue people. You're really pushing your limits when you're rescuing people in difficult conditions. I joined the test pilot school, really with this goal in mind to become a test pilot in order to help me on this path to become an astronaut. And so I did my whole training in a school in the UK, in Boscombe Down. It was a great experience with a lot of international cooperation. I learned a lot, and especially how to conduct tests in aircrafts when you are pushing the limit. After ETPS, the test pilot school, I joined the French Flight Test Center, which is in Cazaux Air Base in southwest of France. And there I served as a test pilot for 3 years, testing new equipment on all sorts of helicopters. And in the end, after this 3 years experience, I logged about 3,000 flight hours on 22 different helicopter types. When I saw the call from ESA to open new selection for an astronaut class, oh my God, I was really happy. And it was a long journey because selection takes a lot of time and takes also a lot of energy. But I was so motivated. I really wanted this to happen, but also I kind of lived this thing without pressure because I had a job I loved. And so I said, okay, whatever happens, I'm gonna be happy. I love my job, and this is gonna be the cherry on the cake. When I got the final call that I was selected, I was very grateful. I was selected to join the Astronaut Corps as an astronaut candidate, and the training started almost 6 months after the announcement of the selection. At that time, the 5 of us, we joined the European Astronaut Center in Cologne, Germany, and it was the beginning of a new adventure. At the beginning of the basic training, we are astronaut candidates, and there's a lot of theory, a lot of classes, a lot of time sitting at a chair, taking notes, learning new science. Yeah, it's 1 year that is kind of intense because we go through all of the topics that we need to learn in order to have the foundations and to understand better how spaceflight works. So then in spring 24, we received our diploma as astronauts, and soon after it went very fast. Raphael and I were announced to be assigned to the first missions of our class. So we started our EVA training right away in Houston, and then for me it was without transition. I immediately went into specific mission training, so it went very fast. And then ESA announced the Epsilon mission. Yeah, it's really a great honor to be assigned to a mission. Of course, you're full of gratitude, but that's a big responsibility to represent France and Europe in space. And during our mission on board the ISS, we are going to do a lot of science experiments. It's great to see that scientists all over the world are working to make the best use of space flight and make discoveries that benefit Earth and people on Earth afterwards. I would say that every step in my journey has been driven by curiosity, teamwork, and purpose. And I would say that none of it happened overnight and none of it happened alone. It's a great honor to represent France and Europe in space and to continue the legacy of those who inspired me and many others.
Welcome. My name is Dr. Erica Martin. I'm an associate professor of biological sciences and the ERIS STEM team lead. On behalf of Emporia State University, thank you for joining us for this truly special event. Today, students from our community will speak directly with astronauts aboard the International Space Station, orbiting Earth roughly 250 miles above us at over 17,000 miles per hour. This is an extraordinary opportunity that brings science, communication, and exploration together in real time. I would like to thank ESU leadership, the Emporia Amateur Radio Society, our IT and marketing teams, our media partners, and especially the students, teachers, and families who are here today. Your curiosity and enthusiasm are what make events like this meaningful. I also want to recognize our partner schools, USD 251, USD 252, and USD 253. Thank you for preparing your students for this experience. Now, to explain how we became part of this remarkable program, I would like to introduce Mr. Mark Brown, Peterson Planetarium Director and NASA Solar System Ambassador. Mark.
Thank you, Dr. Martin. ERIS, Amateur Radio on the International Space Station, is an international volunteer educational program that connects students with astronauts through live amateur radio communication. Schools around the world apply, and only a small number are accepted each year. Emporia State University was chosen after submitting a proposal focused on strong collaboration between university, local schools, amateur radio operators, and community partners. This makes today's contact especially rare. Only the second known ERIS contact involving Kansas schools, and it is a direct contact with the International Space Station. Students played a key role in today's event. They researched life in space, radio communication, and STEM concepts, and wrote thoughtful questions for astronauts living and working aboard the International Space Station. Teachers and ESU staff and supported hands-on activities exploring space science, engineering, and teamwork. Today, our students will communicate with European Space Agency astronaut Sophie Adenot, currently aboard the ISS. Before we begin the contact, we'll share a short video highlighting student preparation and the community effort behind today's event. For that, I would like to introduce to you the Prophet Aquatic Research and Outreach Center Director, Alexandra Hayes.
Thank you, Mark. This short video captures the journey leading up to today, from classroom activities to behind-the-scenes planning. I want to say thank you to Charlie Bittler and the PayRock students and staff who created it. PayRock is incredibly honored to serve as the host site for today's ERIS Contact. In the weeks leading up to this moment, our students and staff have worked hard to create and deliver hands-on programs that brought space science to life for learners across our community. Seeing that excitement build to today has been truly special.
What excites you most about hearing from astronauts on board the International Space Station?
They're astronauts. It's really cool.
My name is Daphne Mays, and I'm the STEM Outreach Director at Emporia State University. Emporia State University has an amazing capacity to connect with our community and provide really great educational opportunities. And so we have faculty and staff that are, able to provide in-depth education and understanding. And we have an incredible STEM outreach team that's able to work with those faculty as well to try to find the best ways to communicate this science to all ages. And so we work really hard to make sure that we're, communicating things properly and that everybody feels included and that this information is as accessible as possible.
Team on 3. 1, 2, 3, team! Exactly, a girl or a guy or someone goes up into space, right? Good. Do you have anything to add? astronaut is kind of like a scuba diver, but instead of the sea, it's space.
That's a great way to describe it. We were actually able to visit every single elementary school in Emporia, and we brought our astronaut training, our junior astronaut training program to each school within the Rec Extra programming that they do, and that was amazing. And all of the ESU students also got to learn about this and teach it to younger students, which was a great experience for them as well. So we've been teaching a lot, we've been doing a lot of things, and it's been really fun.
We got to do this really cool Rec Extra program, so all the after school programs at the schools here in Emporia, we were able to visit, and we were able to give them junior astronaut training, which was super fun. Students were learning about engineering and the physical fitness of an astronaut, as well as communication, which even though these things are important for astronauts, they're also important for other specialties. I mean, no matter what you're doing in life, you're gonna need to know about communication. It's good to be physically fit and healthy, right? And engineering just goes back to basic problem solving, so it's really cool to see.
From what I've observed, so I didn't know much about amateur radio myself when we started this, and so I've learned a lot, and it seems like it's a really engaging and hands-on opportunity to really talk about a lot of different topics within STEM.
Aside from the hobby aspect, which is fun in and of itself, we have the ability to communicate when many other modes of communication are down. The recent severe weather events in Kentucky and North Carolina and such, it demonstrated that because their cell phone and internet disappeared, and amateur radio was what was being used to coordinate emergency efforts at that point. So it is relevant.
A lot of people don't believe this, but smartphones are kind of like airplane seats. They all overbook. And if everybody decides they want to show up at the airplane the same day, somebody's not getting a seat.
How did you and Emporia State University get involved in participating in ARIS and this radio contact event?
Mark Brown, the Peterson Planetarium Director here at Emporia State University, saw the opportunity, I believe, on social media and forwarded me a link that linked to this opportunity and a description of it. I thought it was super cool right away and replied to Mark's email with a lot of enthusiasm.
I think ARIS is so cool because it is truly a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. It's super cool that the people in the community are going to be able to tell their friends about this. Students are going to be able to tell their grandchildren about this someday. It's just truly amazing what is happening here in Emporia.
I'm excited for ARIS because we get to actually talk with astronauts on the International Space Station, and not a lot of people get to do that, so I'm super excited for that.
So they're phasing out the International Space Station, so not a lot of people are going to be able to have this opportunity in general, especially not from Emporia, Kansas. As far as I know, no one has done this here yet, have talked to the International Space Station through amateur radio, so the fact that we're doing it in general is just super exciting. And the fact that all different types of students in our community, not just from one school, but multiple different schools from the surrounding area too, all get to come to one place, learn from real amateur radio experts, and talk to astronauts. It's just really exciting.
Well, I think the coolest thing is that going into space or thinking about going into space or space exploration still brings a lot of questions and curiosity naturally to pretty much everybody. And so capitalizing on that curiosity by making a contact with astronauts in space is a really great segue into understanding more about the science behind all of those things.
Our community partnerships are so incredible here. Emporia State University and our, the work that we do with our STEM outreach programming, we've been able to work with amazing people in our community. We're all wanting to have, educational opportunities for everybody to succeed and learn and grow and be curious and inspired and excited. And so it's really great to find those partners in our community that have that same passion and find ways that we can collaborate together. And so we can kind of help each other grow and help each other meet some big goals that we have. And I think that we're able to do that because we work together so well.
How I've integrated ARIS into our curriculum is It actually has fit really great with our 6th grade space science unit. So we've been learning about space, about the different features in outer space, and one of those is satellites. So this fits great that students will get to talk to astronauts who are actually out there in the place that we've been learning about.
Other amateur radio activities are, some of them are pretty organized like this. This is a lot of organization and practicing way more normally than we do. And you know, hitting a moving target like the space station goes around the entire, makes an orbit in 90 minutes, so it's a very fast target. You have to be very quick and very precise in order to get it. And well, a lot of things that we do, we don't have to be quite that precise.
The target usually isn't rotating and moving across the sky at a high rate of speed. So that's a lot different. So we have to use a rotor and one that has control on 2 axes in order to track the International Space Station across the sky while we're talking to it. Pretty cool.
Now this is a little bit different in that the target is moving. Usually we're talking to someone who's stationary just like us, but the target's moving at a high rate of speed. So we have some significant technical aspects to consider that we don't with normal communications over the radio.
Space communication provides a unique opportunity to deal with different kinds of barriers and complications, and you use different kinds of technology in order to communicate effectively, and exploring how that technology works and the appropriate ways to do it is just really cool.
One of the cool aspects of amateur radio as a hobby is talking to people in other countries, way far away from where you are, and space is pretty much as far as we can get. So that is just like way cool.
I'm excited for Eris because all the community is coming together for one event.
And what one word best captures how you feel about this upcoming Eris event?
I'd have to go with excited. Very excited. Wow.
One word to describe how I feel about Eris is honored.
Honored.
Excited. Ready.
Enthusiastic.
I'm very excited. How much time do we have, Chuck?
2 minutes, 15 seconds.
All right, for those of you who may not be familiar with this, I'm going to start calling them, and they will not be able to hear me yet, but that's part of the process. And I'll continue to call them, and then they'll be able to hear us before we can hear them, and then they will answer. So there might be quite a bit of time where I'm calling and nobody's answering, and that's part of the plan. So don't get too worried about that. We will begin calling in 1 minute, 30 seconds. How much time? NA1SS, NA1SS, this is K0ESU calling ahead of schedule. NA1SS, NA1SS, this is K0ESU calling ahead of schedule. Over. NA1SS, NA1SS, this is K0 ESU calling ahead of schedule. NA1SS, this is K0 ESU. Do you copy? Over. NA1SS, NA1SS, this is K0 ESU, calling ahead of scheduled contact. NA1SS, this is K0 ESU. Do you copy? Over. NA1SS, NA1SS, this is K0 ESU calling. K0 ESU calling. Do you copy? Over. NA1SS, NA1SS, this is K0 ESU calling for a scheduled contact. Do you copy? Over. NA1SS, NA1SS, this is K0 ESU calling for a scheduled contact. Do you copy? Over.
Uniform, this is November Alpha 1 Sierra Sierra. I copy and ready for the event. Over.
NA1SS, this is K0 ESU. We have a lot of excited students here that are ready to ask some questions. Are you ready? Over.
Well, I'm very excited too. The sky isn't the limit, and to the stars. Over. And happy day, Emporia. Over.
How did you feel the first time you went to space? Over.
Hi, I felt so happy. I mean, it was like an incredible moment. I couldn't believe it. It's just like a dream come true. I was really happy. Over.
If you could change one thing about space, what would it be? Over.
I would make it possible that everyone on Earth could be able to come to space and see how beautiful planet Earth is. Over.
What are spacewalks like, and do you like them? Over.
I've never done a spacewalk myself, but I've trained a lot, and I let my colleagues out the door, and spacewalks are an adventure among the biggest adventure of spaceflight, and I would love to do one, so I cross my fingers and I ask you to cross your fingers for me. Over.
What was your first science project in space? Over.
My first science project in space was physiology and sports science in order to optimize the exercise that we do on the weightlifting machine, and this will help people having optimized exercise and gain more muscle. Over.
Is it harder to get her in space because of microgravity? Over.
Actually, yes. I mean, you cannot drop a tool and have it on your foot, or drop something and just bump into things. It's well, if you bump into things, it's just like you're pushed against, and well, it's really harder to get hurt in space. Over.
If you put a jellyfish tank on the ISS, how would microgravity affect the jellyfish, which are already floating in water? Over.
That's a fantastic question. I think the jellyfish wouldn't really understand where it's up and down, and the neurosensorial would be a bit lost, but I think actually it would be still floating. But I mean, we would have to have the experiment, so ask your university to do this experiment and have it flown up there. Over.
What everyday task becomes hardest to do in microgravity? Over.
Well, obviously, walking and running is very difficult. Of course, we don't run, but we don't walk, but we run on a treadmill, and for this we have to have a harness which is pulling us down, and this is kind of tricky to do in here. Over.
What habit from Earth that you had did you have to unlearn? Over.
The biggest habit I had to unlearn is to think two-dimension. On Earth, you're walking, you're looking around. I mean, it's all two dimensions. In here, we use those 3 dimensions all the time, so there's no ceiling, there's no deck, it's just like all space is used. Over.
What unexpected bodily functions changed in space? Over.
It's interesting. So many things change in space. One of the biggest change, I would say, that everyone sees almost is that the eye gets less sharp, the sight. So the optical disc is a bit flattened because of body fluid shift and everything. So we have a tendency to use glasses in here, even if we don't use them on Earth. Over.
What is the most surprising or challenging part of living in space that people on Earth wouldn't expect? Over.
Well, what is surprising to me is that it's not challenging actually, but you can sleep without lying on a bed. You can sleep just floating randomly and get a sleep like this. It's very surprising. Over.
What do you think will be the hardest space habit to unlearn when you are back on Earth? Over.
Oh, definitely for this one, it's about not dropping anything on the ground on Earth, because in here, if you want to, for example, let your pencil and take another thing, you just left your pencil and it doesn't fall, and I think I will be very surprised when I will see it falling on Earth. Over.
Does being an astronaut change the way you see Earth? Over.
Yes, the Earth is so beautiful. We have a feeling of unity. We have a feeling of being actually closer to Earth and closer to every human being. There's a big feeling of happiness and love towards everyone. Over.
How do you know if it is daytime or nighttime? Over.
It depends on where we are. If we are in a module which has a window, then we see it directly. And if we are not, we might end up not knowing at all if it's daytime or nighttime. It changes every 45 minutes, so it's very rapid. Over.
Can you share a mistake that you made in astronaut or ISS training that taught you the biggest lesson? Over.
Well, actually, when you're very busy and you have a lot of exams and certification, and this is the case in the astronaut training, at one point I started saying, okay, I'm going to work more and sleep less. This is a big mistake. No. If you sleep more, your brain is more sharp. So don't do this as a student. I recommend you to sleep well. Over.
How were you chosen to go to the ISS, and how long did it take until you were assigned to a mission? Over.
I started dreaming of becoming an astronaut 30 years ago. Then I became an astronaut in 2022. It took 1 year before I was assigned to a mission, and then it took 2 more years of training. So overall, 3 years since I became an astronaut to being in space. That was super fast, and actually it was a record. Over.
Is there a language barrier between astronauts from different countries? Over.
So we all speak a common language, English, but we also like speaking in different languages. So I speak also Russian, German, and with my colleagues, we speak all of those languages, and in the end, we always manage a way to understand each other. Over.
Why is the ISS important for future space exploration, like for the Moon and Mars? Over.
ISS is very important for both developing technology and testing them, and as well to understand how the human body works in space, because this is also a very challenging part. And in here we're testing devices, for example, an exercise machine that will be used for a station around the moon. Over.
Is the ISS noisy, or do sounds get filtered out? Over.
Actually, it is kind of noisy. It's like a laboratory, an orbiting laboratory. So there are always sounds of fans or valves opening, but I really like those noises. It's interesting. Where we sleep is very well filtered out. It's very well insulated, so no worries where we sleep. But the rest of the station is noisy. Yeah. Over.
How do you deal with emotions in space? Over.
Actually, for dealing with emotions in space, everyone has its own little recipes, and it's like on Earth, some people like to listen to music, some people like to call a friend, some people like to watch a movie, some people and it's exactly the same in space. When we have emotions, we each have our own recipes. Myself, I love doing yoga, and this is my way to deal with emotions. Over.
What are the different technologies you use to communicate with people on Earth? Over.
Interesting, because it's actually the same technologies that we use on Earth. We have possibility to do phone calls, video calls, and all those go through satellites that are relays and then go back to Earth. And so actually it's the same that you do every day on Earth. Over.
How do decisions about the Artemis project affect decisions on the ISS? Over.
You know, it's interesting because NASA and all the agency worldwide are able to have the two simultaneous projects. So I would say there's not really an impact, and it's very important for the future that we are able to manage operations on board the ISS as well as do a long-term exploration mission like the Artemis project. So it's fantastic. It's a great era for space exploration. Over.
How do astronomical events like meteor showers or the aurora borealis affect your operations? Over.
NA1SS, this is K0ESU. Are you still there? Well, that's all the questions we have time for today. We want to express our appreciation for your time and wish you the best and Godspeed. NA1SS, this is K0ESU 73 and out.
All right, what an incredible moment. Oh my. Just minutes ago, students here in Emporia spoke directly with astronauts aboard the International Space Station. Experiences like this remind us that STEM learning is not abstract. It's happening right now, and our students are part of it. We first want to recognize the students who asked questions today. Please stand or raise your hand. Let's give them a well-deserved round of applause.
Please hold your applause till the end of the list. Charlie Wilson, Leah Sheely, Bryson Jacobs, Charlize Huffman, Aaliyah Rankin, Emily Bess, Brady Kelly, Leslie Salcido, Madeline Simmons, Alina Dreesen, Christopher Mangana, Garrett LeBlanc, Harper Williams, Christopher Gonzalez Rodriguez, Hayden Coop, Caden Drescher, and Khalif Jackson.
And thank you to the teachers and schools from USD 251, 252, and 253 for guiding students through this journey, and to our community partners and amateur radio volunteers whose expertise made today possible. And now we're going to recognize those individuals as well.
Emporia High School's Laura Albertson, Emporia Middle School's Harley Sluponik, Hartford High School, Sandy Scoggin, and North Lyon County Junior High School, Grace Higgins. The Emporia Amateur Radio Society crew is Tim East, Charles Wells, David Claridge, Jim Belford, Ryan Olson, Nate Barrett, and Joseph Lottie.
And finally, thank you to Emporia State University ARIS STEM team, which includes Mark Brown, Alexandra Hayes, myself, and a tremendous thanks to Dr. Erica Martin, who led this endeavor. We also thank the Global ARIS program for helping turn curiosity into connection. For media guests, photos and interviews will be available following the program, and we would like to take a group photo on the deck, so please hang tight for just a few more minutes after this. Thank you all for being here and supporting STEM education and exploration. Have a wonderful day.